connected to music in a very strong way, with pianos. My friend Ruth Ann, Joyce, Audrey, Rosemary, Joan. Standing next to her with a camera is Dan. And did I leave anybody out? You can. That's my children's father. I was wondering.
Vicky?
I could bend them.
Fanny. You're Fanny.
Heard them together.
Freshman year, I had an English 100 class, and I got the opportunity to write a biography about somebody, and I thought, for the first time, let's make this a paper I'm interested about, and make it about my grandma. So I found my only copy of this. This is yours when I'm done with it.
Oh my God.
But the biography, I got to interview my grandma, and I got to learn a lot about her. You know, obviously I've known her my whole life, but I had the realization that I didn't know her whole life. So I finally had a chance to get to know what happened leading up to when I came in the picture. So this all has a central theme around music, because Sweat knew that she wanted to work with music the moment she picked up her first instrument, a cello, in her freshman year of high school. Since it was the early 1940s, women did not have the same job opportunities as they do now. Libby recalls that, quote, all women were either secretaries, nurses, file clerks, or telephone operators. Appropriately, her first job was just that, a file clerk at the Hartford Fire Insurance Company, earning a mere $15 a week. However, at this time, many men were being drafted for World War II, and more jobs were opening up for women for the first time. Her older sister, Beatrice, began forming a 6-person orchestra and invited Libby to take part in it as a cellist. She then joined another female orchestra and became part of a group called Rudy Barron and the 7 Gypsy Princesses. In this group, she played Hungarian music in a Hungarian setting, which she absolutely loved, and that was a quote that she loved it. Okay. According to Libby, a music the Gypsy Princess ended. couple and formed another trio. They moved to Florida for a job, but after about 2 months, the group separated and Libby again began to do more freelance work. She soon met Jesse Black, a dentist from New York. As much as she loved mothering her children, she missed being able to play music. Libby says, "I get immersed in my music, carried into a different life." When an old friend moved to the neighborhood, Libby's passion for the cello was stirred back up. Her friend convinced her to buy one, and the two of them began playing duets together. Slowly, more housewives in the neighborhood began playing with them, building trios and quartets. After 24 years of marriage, Libby and Jesse filed for a divorce, and Libby needed to find a way to become fine tuning. She joined the Piano Technicians Guild, and for the next 10 years began to meet people in the music business that could help her get back into the business she missed so much. These people lined up jobs for her as a bassist so she could get her name recognized again. She began getting more and more jobs in orchestras and other ensembles until she could eventually support herself through playing music once again and no longer needed to be in the piano business. The quote, "It is wonderful to love what you are doing and be able to make a living off of it." The band is comprised of a piano, bandonians, violins, and a cello. 12 years and 4 CDs later, this is 5 years ago, Quintango is still a huge success. They have played at venues such as the United States White House for the President, Costa Rica, Europe, and many other locations all over the United States. Libby is one of the 2 original members still remaining, the other being the violinist Joan Singer, and at 85 is still adamant about playing as long as she possibly can. The band is comprised of a piano, bandonians, violins, and a cello. 12 years and 4 CDs later, this is 5 years ago, Quintango is still a huge success. They have played at venues such as the United States White House for the President, Costa Rica, Europe, and many other locations all over the United States. Libby is one of the 2 original members still remaining, the other being the violinist Joan Singer, and at 85 is still adamant about playing as long as she possibly can. 5 years ago. While many people may be shocked to hear about an 85-year-old woman touring the world and playing concerts, Libby sees nothing more appealing. Playing in Quintango is almost therapeutic to her, and she says, "I can feel lousy, but when I start playing, even if it's just a rehearsal, I don't feel anything but joy." Anybody that is doing something that they love, this will happen to. Libby feels very grateful to have been able to play music for this long and hopes that she can continue as long as possible.
I'm eternally grateful for that. Happy birthday, Mom.
So we all know about Libby's musical talent and wonderful stage presence, but we wanted to talk also about what she was like as a mother. And it would be absolutely beautiful. You bring it into the teacher and they think you were very artistic. Fortunately, they never asked me to draw in front of them. Now, I don't have any samples of that. The only thing I could find to bring here was just she made my senior recital poster in college. She did a wonderful job. We'll call this Exhibit A. And she did get it together. And it's got a clarinet taken apart there. At all my concerts and recitals, visiting me at Interlochen when I was there. And what better thing can a parent give to a child but a lifelong passion? And as you two alluded to, Libby was always great in a crisis situation. She was always there to help us, no matter how big or how small the crisis. I do have a couple. These were when she was cleaning out her house. We found some of my letters and postcards. So these are postcards from when I was 9 or 10 years old at summer camp. At all my concerts and recitals, visiting me at Interlochen when I was there, and what better thing can a parent give to a child but a lifelong passion? And as you two alluded to, Libby was always great in a crisis situation. She was always there to help us, no matter how big or how small the crisis. I do have a couple. These were when she was cleaning out her house. We found some of my letters and postcards. So these are postcards from when I was 9 or 10 years old at summer camp. The counselor, everybody has to get a haircut, and he said yes, unless you have a note. Please hurry and send the note. The barber is coming soon. Love Mitchell. She sent the note. Another one. Move on. Okay, a few introductory sentences, and then I get right to the point. They have made a new rule. You can chew gum. Will you please send me 2 packs of juicy fruit gum? Love Mitchell. And she sent them. When we were planning this, everyone knows how youthful she is. She's a very unusual 90-year-old. And I was trying to figure out, well, what is it about her that makes her so youthful? And it brought to mind a wonderful statement I read by Leo Lerman, who was an editor at Harper's for many years, and he said something like, well, I always imagined that I was born dead and resuscitated, and therefore I consider every minute of my life a gift. And I think the way Libby lives her life really demonstrates that. When we were planning this, everyone knows how youthful she is. She's a very unusual 90-year-old. And I was trying to figure out, well, what is it about her that makes her so youthful? And it brought to mind a wonderful statement I read by Leo Lerman, who was an editor at Harper's for many years, and he said something like, well, I always imagined that I was born dead and resuscitated, and therefore I consider every minute of my life a gift. And I think the way Libby lives her life really demonstrates that. Passion in everything she does, and this also, besides making her a wonderful mother and friend, has made her a wonderful traveling companion. And she and I have taken many wonderful trips together, Prague and Budapest, South America, Paris, cruises on the Danube and Alaska, and I always have a great time with her because she's always open to any new experience. And
Except dipping when I'm dancing.
one other quick anecdote that demonstrates her passion for living. She's come many times to visit me during the International Film Festival, and we go see multiple films on one day often. But one time, she was coming in, and she was already in her 80s, and she had a fiasco with the plane and had to do an emergency landing somewhere, I don't remember where. And we were going to go to a dinner and then see a couple of films. Well, she got in about 8. I picked her up at the airport. I thought she'd just be exhausted. We could just blow off the festival and go have dinner. And she said, no, we're not. We're going right there. We saw 2 films that night, got back at midnight. And she loved it. So on that note, at least I'm going to toast again to the most youthful, the youngest nonagenarian I know. We love you. We're so appreciative of everything you've done for us. And happy birthday. Happy 90th birthday. Happy 91st year. And have many, many more wonderful years after this. I wanted to open up the floor now to anyone who, I know Ryan wanted to say something, so I'm going to bring him the mic. And anyone else, if they have Libby stories.
These fears enter her mind. They quickly escape as the first song begins, and she becomes immersed in her passion for music.
I just want to add, my 10 years in the piano business, although in the beginning it was extremely tough because I was cleaning pianos, which is really drudgery.